Math ap Mathonwy, the brother of Dawn, was lord in Gwynedd. Math needed a maiden to be his companion in Caerdathil, where he lived when he was at peace. The wise Gwydion advised him, "Seek Arianrhod, your niece, your sister's daughter, to be your companion." Math sent word to Arianrhod in her castle of glass, hidden within Snowdon. When she arrived, he said to her, "Are you a maiden?" She replied, "I am." Math took out his magic wand, bent it, and said, "Step over this." As she stepped over the wand, a small child came from her. At the crying of the child, she made for the door. As she did so, another form appeared, but before anyone could see, Gwydion picked it up and covered it with a scarf of velvet. Math looked down at the yellow-haired child before him and said, "Dylan shall be his name." Later, the child saw the sea and jumped in, took its nature, and beneath him no wave ever broke, and the sea was his home from that day forth. He became the father of those beings the Gaels call Selkie. Gwydion had picked up an infant in his velvet scarf. He knew a woman who could nurse a child, so he took the child to her to be nursed for the space of 1 year. At the end of the year, Gwydion again met the child, a boy. Now, 1 year old, he seemed as large as a 2-year-old. As soon as he saw Gwydion, he took to him, and from that time forth was a love between them as father and son. The boy was reared at court until he was 4, at which time he appeared as though he were 8. Gwydion took the boy to the castle of Arianrhod. She welcomed them and said, "Who is this boy with you?" "He is your son," replied Gwydion. "Why do you seek to shame me in this way?" cried Arianrhod. "Do you truly seek my dishonour?" "There is no dishonour in raising such a boy," replied Gwydion. "What is his name?" asked Arianrhod. "As yet he has no name," replied Gwydion. "Then this is the tongued I lay upon him," said Arianrhod. "He shall have no name until I give him one." Gwydion left the castle of Arianrhod in anger and returned to Caerdathil, where they stayed the night. The next day he took the boy to walk on the seashore by Abermenai. There he saw some sedges and seaweed. With his skill he turned them into a boat. Then out of sticks and sedges he made a beautiful amount of leather, and coloured it so no one had ever seen leather more beautiful. Then he made a sail, and sailed to the port of the castle of Arianrhod. He put a glamour on himself and the boy, so that none may recognize him. Then he sat in the boat and began to stitch shoes out of the leather. "What men are those in yonder boat?" Arianrhod asked of her ladies. "They are cordwainers," was the reply. "Require of the cordwainer that he makes shoes for me," she commanded. But when the ladies spoke to Gwydion, he answered them, "No, I will not make shoes for your lady until she allows me to measure her foot myself." So Arianrhod went down to the port and saw Gwydion, though she did not recognize him. "Good day," she said. "Will you now make shoes for me?" "With the right measure before me, I will," replied Gwydion. Then a small wren landed on the prow of the boat. Picking up a small stone, the boy threw it and knocked the wren off the perch. Observing the child's long yellow hair and good aim, Arianrhod declared, "My gan y Llew Llaw Gyffes. The little lion has a steady hand." Then Gwydion rose, and the glamour went from him and the boy, and the boat and leather returned to sticks and seaweed. "You have named your son well," he declared. "From this time forth that shall be his name, Llew Llaw Gyffes, the lion with a sure hand." "Again you tried to dishonour me," cried Arianrhod. "Is this how you will thrive?" "There is no dishonour in naming your own son," replied Gwydion. "This second Tynged will I lay upon him," declared Arianrhod. "He shall never have arms nor armour unless he gets it from me." Gwydion and Llew departed, and went to Dinas Dinllef. There Gwydion cared for Llew and raised him well. He grew rapidly, and Gwydion taught him horse and weaponry. He taught him courtly behaviour, and also the secrets of the 3 magics. Llew grew to be perfect in strength, features, and stature. The time came when Llew became despondent, for he needed horse and arms to be welcome among the courts of men. One day Gwydion called Llew and told him that they would go on a journey. "But I bid you," he told Llew, "that you put on a cheerful face." They journeyed towards the castle of Arianrhod. As they approached through the gates, they put glamour on themselves, so they appeared as 2 youths, though Gwydion appeared more serious than the other. "Porter," said he, "go in and say that here are 2 bards from Morgannwg." They were welcomed in most heartily, and sat down to a sumptuous feast. When the meal had ended, Gwydion entertained the hall with news and stories. Gwydion was an excellent storyteller, and a merry time was had by all. A chamber was prepared for them, and they went to their ease. In the early dawn, Gwydion called to him his magic and his power, and by the time the day had fully dawned, there was uproar throughout the land. Shouts and trumpet calls alarmed the castle, and soon there came a knocking on the door. Arianrhod was there. "Ah, good men," she cried, "evil has come upon us." "Yes," said Gwydion, "we have heard the trumpets and the shouts. What do they mean?" "We cannot see the ocean for the many ships that sail towards us with great speed," said Arianrhod. "What are we to do?" "Lady," said Gwydion, "there is nothing to do except close up the castle and let us defend it as best we may." "Will you aid me in this defence?" she asked. "Indeed," replied Gwydion, "but we are without arms." "Arms I have in plenty," replied Arianrhod, and soon she reappeared with her maids and suits of armour and weapons for 2 men. "Lady," said Gwydion, "would you equip this stripling, while I, with the aid of your maidens, will attire myself?" "I will do so gladly," she replied. Soon all were ready for battle. "I have finished," she said. "I too am finished," said Gwydion. "We may now take off our arms. We need them not." "Why?" she cried. "There is an army about my castle." Then Gwydion removed the glamour from himself and Llew, and said, "There is no army. The uproar was to get you to give arms to your son, and now it is done." "You are a wicked man," said Arianrhod. "Many a youth might have lost his life from your uproar. So this final Tynged will I lay on the youth. He will never have a wife from the race that walks this earth." Gwydion and Llew left, though Gwydion's heart was angry. They went to the court of Math ap Mathonwy, where Gwydion complained of Arianrhod. He told Math of all that had befallen, and of the final Tynged. When Math and Gwydion took counsel together, they went out to the forest and gathered blossoms of oak, broom, and meadowsweet. Then, with enchantments, they called forth the spirit of the earth and of the May, to breathe life into what they had wrought, till there before them was the most beautiful maid ever seen by man. They named her Blodeuwedd, which means flower face. She became the bride of Llew, and at the wedding feast Math gave as his gift the cantref of Dinodig. In this day it is known as Eifionydd and Ardudwy. They built a palace called Mir y Castell, and both he and his wife were beloved of all. The days of a man are in 3 phases: a youth, a warrior, and a sage, and that is the story of Llew. As a youth, he must be named. As a warrior, he must have arms and weapons. As a sage, he must be married to the land, to the earth, and that was the spirit of the earth that came into Blodeuwedd. But the earth changes. The passion, the vitality, the growth of spring becomes the heat of summer, becomes the maturity of autumn, but then comes winter. The ground grows cold and hard, and everything dies, and a bitter wind blows through to pierce the heart of the strongest man, and that will be the second part of the story of Llew Llaw Gyffes.